I'm going to preview the number 11 Baylor at Texas Tech men's basketball game. I'm only mentioning Texas Tech as a preview here because they are receiving votes, and the game will be played at 5 p.m. Central Time on ESPN2. And this is an important game for both of these teams. I'm going to mention overall records first. Baylor is 22-8, while Texas Tech is 21-9. Baylor is 11-6 in the Big 12. Texas Tech is 10-7. So both of these teams are potentially fighting over to be a top 4 seed in the Big 12 tournament. And we all know if you're a top 4 seed, you get a double bye. And obviously, I know Kansas is playing at Houston on Saturday, the best team in the league, and hopefully that happens. Kansas does lose to help both of these teams here, honestly. But, and BYU currently, as of this recording, is playing Iowa State right now, and they're up, but only by 6. So maybe Iowa State comes back. But we'll see what happens, and you can't rely on help anyway. You got to help yourself. So I'm just telling the truth like it is on this game. And Langston Love for Baylor did warm up last game. I know he didn't play, but maybe they didn't want to risk him. Maybe they're going to try to wait it out until this game right here to play him. Because it's important to get some reps down the stretch, but we have to wait and see. Before the Big 12 tournament, I mean. And like I said, this game will be at 5 p.m. Central Time on ESPN2. And I will put the outlook on Texas Tech men's basketball in the description below. And I will say, Texas Tech does have 2 guys that are questionable for this game coming up. And I'll mention both of those guys once I get to them. And one of them didn't even play against Baylor last time. And you will know who that guy is. I promise you. Now, obviously, the best guy on the team in terms of points per game is Pop Isaacs. Number 2, 6'2", 170-pound guard. That's a sophomore. 15.9 points per game. 65 for 219 on 3. So he's struggling a bit from the 3-point line. But you still cannot let him go loose. Because he can shoot. 115 and 136 on free throws, so he takes a lot of free throws. As you can tell, 3.2 rebounds per game, 3.6 assists per game, 2.5 turnovers per game, 1.1 steals per game, 1.6 fouls per game. And there's Joe Toussaint. He's a transfer from West Virginia. He was there last year. He transferred over because Bob Huggins got let go, as we all know. Number 6, 6 foot, 190-pound guard. That's a sophomore, senior. 12.4 points per game, 32 for 103 on threes, 106 for 125 on free throws. So yet another guy of 100 free throws for the season. 2.6 rebounds per game, 4.4 assists per game, 2.2 turnovers per game, 1.4 steals per game, 2.2 fouls per game. And there's De'Aaron Williams, number 5, 6'6", 210-pound guard. That's a sophomore. 11.4 points per game, 44-86 on threes. 67 for 75 on free throws, 7.5 rebounds per game, 2.4 assists per game, 1.6 turnovers per game, 1.2 steals per game, 2.2 fouls per game. Now, I'm not going to mention the guy that's out for the year either. I'm not going to mention that guy. Sorry. Then there's Chance McMillian, number 0, 6'3", 185-pound guard. That's a senior. 10.6 points per game, 59 for 150 on threes, 29 for 32 on free throws, 3.9 rebounds per game, 2.7 turnovers per game, 0.6 steals per game, 1.4 fouls per game. Now, the guy that didn't play against Baylor last time was Warren Washington. And, quite frankly, he is questionable. He has not played recently. And I don't know whether or not he's even going to play. But I'm going to just go ahead and mention all the stats for him up to this point. And I should have known about Kevin McCullough potentially playing last week. But how am I supposed to know? I thought he might have not played down the stretch with that bone bruise. But that's a different story. Okay, number 22. 7 foot, 225-pound forward. That's a senior. 9.9 points per game. 35 for 63 on free throws. 7.4 rebounds per game. 1.5 turnovers per game. 0.8 steals per game. 1.5 blocks per game. 2.3 fouls per game. And there's Curran Walton, number 24, 6'5", 200-pound guard. That's a senior. 8.3 points per game. 56 for 18 on threes, 20 for 27 on free throws, 2.1 rebounds per game to 1.3 fouls per game. Is Robert Jennings, numbers 25, 6'7" and 225-pound forward. That's a sophomore. 4 points per game, 29 for 42 on free throws, 3 rebounds per game, 0.8 turns per game, 1.7 fouls per game. And there's another guy that's questionable, and he has not played recently. Is Kyron Lindsey, which it sounds like he might not play, but I can't take a chance on that, so I'm just going ahead and mention it. Number 21, 6'8", 205-pound guard. That's a sophomore. 2.7 points per game, 4 for 8 on free throws, 0.7 blocks per game, 1 foul per game. And there's Lamar Washington, number 1, 6'4", 205-pound guard. That's a sophomore. 2.1 points per game, 4 for 16 on threes, 15 for 22 on free throws, 0.6 turns per game, 1.1 fouls per game. And the last guy I'm going to mention, he played against us last time, but I did not mention him at the time. And that guy is Emili Yalaho. Yeah. Number 23, 6'8", 210-pound forward. That's his freshman. 1.7 points per game, 2 for 8 on threes, 2 for 9 on free throws, and 1 foul per game. He's been in jury of no Warren Washington for Texas Tech. To be honest, I'm going to say this across the board about Texas Tech. They're going to play angry at us at Baylor. Let's not forget, Baylor beat them last time in Waco. It's senior day. They want to try to win for all those seniors, even if they might be considering coming back, or this is their last game in college in their home arena. But you guys get the point. They're going to play ticked off. They don't want to finish with back-to-back home losses, because as we all know, Texas Tech last time they played at home, or at least a time before, it was against Texas and they got humiliated. And it was a mess of a situation, to say the least, with the fans throwing stuff on the floor. I'm just pointing that out, and I know that was only a 12-point loss, but it could have been a lot worse, and it really was a lot worse than that. So they don't want to lose at home back-to-back times. I am sure of that. You got to out-hustle Texas Tech. You got to limit your foul trouble while getting them in foul trouble, especially when they're down a couple of guys, potentially. I mean, I'm just telling the truth. You got to make adjustments on the fly, both offensively and defensively. I'm not talking about from first half to second half either. I'm talking about possession by possession, timeout to timeout. But you guys get the whole point about that. Now, defensively, you got to contain the shooters and contain the slashers, and in all this, whether it's man to man or zone, as we all know, that's what Baylor's been doing. I mean, that's the truth about it is, and you got to contain the points in the paint as much as possible. You can't let them live at the free throw line either. That's another thing. You don't want to let them live up points up turners, because sometimes your best offense is your best defense. I'm just telling you. And limit the transition points. I mean, that's another key in this game. And force turnovers on Texas Tech. Force them. I mean, that's another thing you got to do. And get some blocks while being smart about their fouling too. I mean, I'm just telling you the truth on that. Now, offensively, of course, we don't want to have like illegal screens or something like that. I mean, you got to take care of the ball. You got to get rebounds. And obviously, you want to limit those second chance points on defense as well, which I'm not sure if I mentioned that, but you got to limit those second chance points. And you got to get all the defensive rebounds you could get. And I'm pretty sure if there is no Warren Washington in this game, that might actually help us. But anyway, you cannot let up on that category. Just can't. And ever since that BYU loss on the road, we got got beat on the glass. That's not been a problem. But you don't want that to happen here. I mean, I'm just telling you. Obviously, you got to get some second chance points and convert at a high level or highest level possible. You got to try and make some threes. Of course, when you get to the free throw line, you got to make them count. I mean, and penetrate to the basket if nothing else. I mean, hit some mid range as well. I mean, I'm just telling the truth about that. And like I said, I'm not sure if Langston Love will actually play in this game, but I know he did warm up. I saw that in person. But it still proved that Baylor didn't need him to come back and beat Texas. And he didn't even play against Kansas. And yet we beat Kansas without him, and they still had Chemical. But that's besides the point. In all this. And obviously, it'd be helpful if if Mirillo just does his role off the bench, and he did score some points last game. I know it was only 3, but still, Caleb Lohner needs to do his role, like rebounding and defense. Scoring's just a bonus, honestly. And I know he doesn't want to take corner threes. I know you got to try to take them. It's just you got to be smart about it. You have good shot selection, and make Texas Tech not have good shot selection. Make everything difficult for them on defense. Don't give them any clean looks. And Josh Ujawuna, hopefully he could have a repeat performance what he did against Texas and bring it to Texas Tech. Ray J. Dennis, hopefully he shoots better from 3. I mean, 0 for 2, but he was 6-11 from the field and 4 for 5 on free throws with 8 assists. He did have turnovers, 4 of them, and he needs to reduce that. But that's the truth. And Jacoby Walter only had 15 points on 2 for 5 shooting, 2 for 3 on threes, but 9 for 12 at the free throw line. So hopefully he could do that again, and as well as the steals, and got to be ball tough in this game too. Jane Nunn hopefully has a bounce back game shooting the ball from the field, but made all 6 free throws. And hopefully he's messy from that game against Texas. He steps it up in this game, because I just know Texas was really physical and it kind of threw him off a bit. And he had foul trouble as well. And hopefully Jalen Bridges does similar type of performance from Texas to Texas Tech. But I know it's going to be hard scoring like 32 points again in back-to-back games. And I'm pretty sure Texas Tech's going to be key on him too. I know they're probably going to, especially that is his recent career high. And another thing across the board, you got to be the more physical team, both physically and mentally. You got to be stronger than them mentally as well. Because here's the thing. You got to stay composed. You got to stay poised. Don't play too fast. And when you're trailing, try to chip away. Instead of trading basket by basket, you got to get some baskets on offense and get some stops on defense. That's the only way to come back in games. That's what happened against Texas at some point in the game. Baylor got stops. Baylor was scoring and got on a big run. And another thing I want to mention, you got to correct what you did wrong last game and fix that for this game. And keep what you did well in last game and continue that. And I also don't know how the officiating is going to be. I'm going to just tell you point blank in the face, because it might be questionable at times, but you got to play through it. And even if it's like a shot that, hey, I got fouled on that, you got to go out there and make a shot. So I'm just trying to keep it brief here, brief as possible, but yet be very descriptive what Baylor needs to do in this game. And this is a big game, like I said, for both of these teams in terms of conference tournament. I mean, the thing is, who knows if Baylor loses this game, then it becomes crazy if BYU ties and somehow wins both their games this week. And the same thing goes for Same thing goes for Kansas as well, which they're playing Houston, which I don't know what to think about that game. I honestly want Houston to win. That way Kansas could just be in only the single bye and not the double bye. They don't need that. But still. And you got to come out with a sense of urgency. And this is another quad one opportunity here too for Baylor. And for both of these teams, obviously. But for Baylor, if you win this game, you can try to make a push for a 2 seed, but at least keep yourself on the 3 line for the NCAA tournament as well. I mean, you're trying to make a push for a 2, and let's finish out the regular season strong, and let's try to ruin the senior day for Texas Tech, if possible. So, anyways, if you like this content, hit the like and subscribe. See you guys later on the road to 600 subscribers. Of course, ultimate goal is 1,000 more, so money out this course. Like a video, comment video really helps YouTube algorithm, so more people can see it. Sharing the video does help as well, so more people can watch. And if you're watching and not subscribed, hit subscribe button. It's free to notification bell as well. And this is the same Texas Tech team, by the way, that destroyed Kansas. So cannot take Texas Tech lightly. And I know they got killed by Texas, and it was only a 12-point game, but y'all get the whole story here. And one last update from the BYU game against Iowa State. It's tied at 56 apiece with 7:44 left. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens. And all this. And this is just like as I am recording right now, by the way, too. So things will obviously change once you know the final result after this video is uploaded. I mean, like, whether you watch it later on tonight, or tomorrow, or Friday, but you get the whole point. We're going to know something about that game. It's important for the Big 12 standings, especially if Baylor wants to have a double bye in all this. And if Langston Love gets to play, he needs to do his role. I'm just telling you.